in the neighborhood of $850 for 3 hours. So if you take 6 hours, then it'll be twice that. Okay, so just for your own planning. So I had a question. I saw a hand go up a while ago. Anybody? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So the parents weekend barbecue is not on parents weekend?
Oh, it's supposed to be.
Parents weekend is March 3rd.
Do we? Is it not the parents' weekend? Oh, Kristen, how do we miss that? So when is parents' weekend? March 31st?
Okay. Well, that's when the parents' weekend barbecue will be. So this is from.
Okay. So we'll send an email in a day or two correcting that. Okay. So yeah, the parents' weekend barbecue will be on parents' weekend, but yeah, we might have messed up on the date we put here. Yeah, 'cause that's the whole point. While your parents and family are here, we want to have a barbecue. All right, so the cost information page. Any questions on that? So that's kind of some important stuff. Yeah, Ashley.
Okay, the last day to tell you if they're not either flying here with you or flying back with you is February 2nd, not March 8th. Is that right? Exactly.
Yeah, because we need to know that immediately. Yeah. So so no later than March 2nd. Yeah, we need to know that. Because February the. Yeah, so February the 2nd, we need to know for sure. We need to tell them how many tickets we need.
Should we email Kristen?
Yeah, email Kristen with any questions that you have or anything like that. So that last paragraph, so saying that if you're not going to file with the group, let us know by March the 2nd, or sooner if you can. And then we'll deduct $1,195 from that, from the total cost, which is what we're paying for each one of your tickets. So at the time we booked it, that was the best price we were able to get. And we had to let them know in order to reserve that many seats. I mean, it may be you can get a better price than that now. And so if you do wind up having to travel separate from the group, it may only be $1,000 now. I don't know. It may be $1,500 now. But we'll refund what we had to pay, what we've locked in. There's that $11.95 price that we negotiated. And then we'll just let you arrange through Judy, and we've got her email address here. Like I said, she's in Arizona. So she's with International Business Services, this travel agency we use in Arizona. So she'll be able to work with you to make sure that you're traveling when we're traveling, getting to the London airport when we're getting there, because we'll have 2 buses meet us in the London airport to take us to Oxford. So she'll want to make sure that you're on that flight. You're on a flight that's going to get you there at the same time or before we're there. Yes, ma'am.
Do you recommend us contacting her now or waiting until she's at one of our meetings?
No, Judy won't be. Yeah, Judy won't be coming from Arizona. Only her boss will be coming from Arizona.
Okay, so you recommend?
Yeah, go ahead and email Judy and go ahead and start working all that out now with her.
And if we she'll know what we're talking about if we tell her.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a travel agency. They just deal in international travel. So they work with several different universities, but we're the jewel in their crown. Okay. So we're the largest group that so they're very familiar with us. All right. Any other questions on that page, that cost information page? All right, then the syllabus. Let me go over a few things on the syllabus. Since this is the first class day, you go over the syllabus on the first class period. So let's go over that. So a few things there. I won't bore you with all the details there, just the basic stuff. The course objectives, I'll let you read through those. The course requirements, all right, the rules of conduct that I pointed out to you before. Okay, number 2 is you're in some groups, or I think there were 5. I think we have 15 teams that I took pictures of. If you're in a team and I didn't take a picture of you yet, even if you're in a 3-person team at this point, let me go ahead and take your picture through tonight. So a 3 or a 4-person team, if I haven't taken your picture with some other people, we'll do that after the meeting tonight. So you're responsible for a 2-page paper, and then also you're responsible for an oral presentation once we get over to that city that deals with your presentation. We'll talk about that in a minute. Number 3, so you're responsible for attending all pre-departure meetings, all 4 of our meetings, all of our company visits, of course, all the required group meetings that we'll have when we're in Europe. And I don't know if we say here, yeah, it says there, that if anybody misses one of the company meetings, I'll just go ahead and get this out right now. If anybody misses a company meeting once we're over in Europe, you lose a letter grade in the course for not being at Galleries Lafayette for that presentation, or not being at Harrods department store for that presentation. We haven't had anybody, I think we had maybe 3 years ago, we had a couple of girls that overslept and they frantically got someplace we were going just in the nick of time after we had already left. We had a situation our first year where we had some kind of couple of problem people on our trip, which is why we have a pretty strict rule of conduct now, as a matter of fact. And so they wound up losing a couple of letter grades in the class because they didn't show up for 2 of the, well, I think one of the company meetings they didn't show up for, and then just some behavior issues. They lost 2 or 3 other letter grades in the course. So hopefully we will not have any of that. So anyway, there's 15 company visits once we get over there. So you just need to make sure that if you have your iPhone 4S's, that Siri reminds you to get up on time, okay? Or your alarm clocks, multiple alarm clocks or whatever. Because if you miss one of the company visits, you're starting off with a B in the course instead of an A. All right, then the second number 3, I'm sure there's a reason why I have 2 number 3s down there. And then we want you to actively participate, of course, in all company visits. Now, this was not Kristen's fault. This is my fault. So we're going to want you well rested for all the company visits. We always recommend, if we have a company visit the next morning, we recommend you're back in the hotel by midnight that night before. Just so you're going to be well rested, so you're not dozing off. Dozing off is even worse than not being there. So we're in a company visit where we've got Sir Peter Viggers, a Parliament member, speaking to us in his English dialect about British Parliament. And if we've got, I'll pick on somebody that I know would probably not do this, but if we've got, say, Shelby Jenkins over here, who's just dozing off over here, well, she's lost some points in the course, okay, for doing that, because we need to represent ourselves well. Some of these speakers are going to want to speak to us again the next year, and again, so we're representing A&M well. And honestly, sometimes it gets a little difficult, because sometimes it's in the afternoon, the rooms are hot over there, right, Chris? Where we have some of these meetings, they don't believe in air conditioning in a lot of Europe. Sometimes the rooms get warm. So you need to make sure that you're not dozing off in any of the meetings, that you're awake, you're pinching yourself, the person next to you is accountable for you to make sure you're with it, and you're staying awake, whatever it takes. All right, number 4, another requirement, of course, is being cooperative with us. Okay, so cooperating with the faculty coordinators and with all of us. Again, representing A&M well, that's important. Even working with each other, working with your teammates. After we get back, we'll also have a peer evaluations. And so the peer evaluations is a big part of your professional conduct grade, the 40%. If there are several people that rip you and say, this person was not professional, they weren't dressed professional on a number of occasions, they were sleepy during professional visits. And I keep track of who participates and who asks questions and things like that, so I'll have records of that too. But yeah, we unfortunately have people that have to lose letter grades in the course every year because of poor peer evaluations. So you need to make sure that you're behaving yourself well, not just when the faculty members are around, but when your peers are around too. I mean, we're expecting the best of you, or we wouldn't have accepted you for this. But just to make sure that there aren't any problems, we have peer evaluations as well after we get back. Number 5. So there's going to be 2 reports that you'll need to turn in. One of them is about a month after we get back. The other one's about 6 weeks after we get back. The one that's due about a month after we get back is about a 60-page report that you're going to have to do. We have all of the different parts of it itemized here for you. First of all, you've got a daily journal that you'll need to type up a one page only, double-spaced journal of every day of the trip. From the day we leave till the day we get back, so you'll have 20, so that's 28 pages right there. So you'll have one page daily journal of the trip. Then you'll have 15 pages of company notes. So again, that's one page only, double-spaced. And so you're supposed to take notes. We want you taking notes during all of our 15 professional visits, and you'll be typing that up. Hopefully all this you're doing at the time, that you're not doing this after we get back, and then all of a sudden Brady Wilson is saying, man, I need to start typing up some stuff. I haven't done anything. Brady's going to be in trouble, okay? So you need to be doing this, Brady, as we're going. So every night, type up your daily journal for that day. If we had a company visit that day, type it up that night. If we have a bus trip, like after 5 nights in London, we're on the way to Paris. That's when some people kind of use that time to kind of catch up. So by the time you're in Paris, we're ready to start Paris stuff. You're finished with all your journals for London, all of your professional visits for London. So just make sure that you're caught up. So you see, a lot of this report you'll have done before you even get back. Okay, so go ahead and type all that up. So company notes, and then the third part is going to be retailer comparison. That's a 2-page only. Comparison between Harrods department store in London, Galleries Lafayette department store in Paris. So we want you to compare it on, and we have four items here. We want you to compare these 2 department stores on at least 3 of these. So when we're in London, you need to go to Harrods before we actually visit the department store for our professional visit. Start shopping around there. We'll talk to you about that. But start noticing some things. Start working on that table. When we're in Paris, we'll have a Paris Arts and Cultural Day. So there you're going to need to do something cultural. You need to go to the Louvre. You're going to need to go to Versailles. You're going to need to go to Musée d'Orsay. Probably one of those 3 places, or 2 of those 3, or perhaps even all 3 of them. But we don't want you to view that Paris Arts and Cultural Day as a free day, because we want you to learn this. In other words, don't sleep till noon that day, and then get up and have a leisurely lunch, and then watch TV for a while until 3 o'clock, and then finally go out and get something. No, this is an arts and cultural day that we've set aside for you in Paris. So you'll write that up. That's a couple of pages. Then your interviews, you need to interview someone in each of the cities that we go to. And so we'll want you to take a picture of that person. And we're going to have you give us a picture of that person. And then we're going to want you to interview that person. And we've given you some ideas. Here are some things that you might want to talk to that person about. Because we don't want you just staying to yourself. I mean, you can interview somebody in a group. I mean, you can have 2 or 3 or 4 either together interview the same person. But we want you talking to local people. So we don't want you talking to another tourist and interviewing a tourist from Sweden or something there. But somebody who is a resident of that city, a native person, we want you interviewing them. Cultural differences, and we want you to observe something about each one of the countries that we visit, where we, in each of these countries we've listed there, so those 7 countries, we want you to name at least 5 cultural differences compared with the U.S. And then G, a group, city, company write-up. So this is something that you might want to start working on pretty soon. We have the Dachau concentration camp team right here. All right, so y'all will be working on Dachau concentration. You'll be researching that on the web. You'll be coming up with a 2-page paper about Dachau. And in fact, for our next meeting, we'll actually give you an example of what we want that looking like. But for now, you might want to kind of start researching it on your own and start thinking about that. And then we have some very specific directions for how we want that paper, because we're going to put that paper in the report or in the book that everybody is going to get before we actually leave campus for the summer. So after you finish with your final exam, or before, while you're taking it, we're going to come by our office and we're going to have a book that we'll give to everybody. It'll have all of these, we'll have all 20 of these reports in there. And we're going to have a whole bunch of other stuff in here too. We'll have all your pictures, we'll have the team pictures, we'll have the individual pictures, we'll have stuff, shopping tips and everything for all the cities. We'll have maps, and so we'll have a complete book for you that you can take on the plane with you and look through whenever you go home, show your parents before you actually leave on the trip. So these reports will be a part of that. And then also, once we get over there, so we're going to actually have you give a presentation. Your team will give a presentation to everybody. So like, what do we have here? We have the Bloomberg team. Okay. So Bloomberg. So y'all will see this table right here in London. Because as soon as we get to London, we're not going to do it that evening, but the next morning, the first thing we're going to do before we take a bike tour is we're going to have presentations from our London team. And they're going to they have a 12-minute presentation to us, extemporaneous, no notes. And so they're going to know everything about, say, Bloomberg. In fact, who's the Bloomberg team? Okay, just one thing to y'all, there are Bloomberg terminals in the training center right over here. So I want you to send somebody in the finance department and get a demonstration on those Bloomberg terminals before we go, okay? So that's an extra assignment that you have. And then Bloomberg, so then they're going to tell us all about Bloomberg before we actually take our visit, as will all of you, because we don't want to walk into these companies with everybody looking at each other saying, who's Bloomberg? What do they do? We know that. We've got a report in our books. They've given a presentation to us. So we know about the cities, we know about the companies before we actually visit them. Okay? And then we'll have the London group. They're going to tell us all about London and Westminster Abbey and places to see and things like that before we actually visit Westminster Abbey, before we actually go out and about in London. So they're going to be experts on London. Also, for the rest of our stay in London, these are our go-to guys right here in London. All right, so y'all are going to be the experts. All right. Okay, and then like we say here, before we leave, hopefully you'll get together and work out your oral presentation. Don't wait till we get over there to work out the oral presentation, okay? It's probably a little less serious for the Lucerne, Switzerland groups, the Bukhara and the Johnson & Johnson group and the Lucerne group. But it would probably be good for you before you leave to go ahead and work out your oral presentation here, just so you don't have that hanging over your head for the whole trip. All right? So try to get all that worked out before we leave. So you have on the next page the guidelines for the group presentations. So we've got everything spelled out very clearly right there. Got a lot of important stuff underlined. Everybody should speak about the same amount of time. Again, no notes. You need to have visuals. You need to have some handouts for us. We'll also be giving awards. Because after we get back, we have a reunion barbecue the first football game weekend in August. And for that, we'll have another barbecue over at the same place, over at Veterans Park. And we'll give out a bunch of awards. And we're going to give out outstanding team presentation awards, and outstanding group awards, and outstanding individual presenter awards. And we're going to give out awards for who asked the best questions during our professional visits, and who got into the cultures the best, and Best Written Report Awards. We'll be giving lots of awards out to different people, to those that do outstanding jobs. And then number 6 is the photo book. So you've got that 60-page report that you'll be doing, most of which you can probably get done before we even get back. And then that will be due a month after we get back. And then you've got this photo book. There should be 2 photo books going around. If they stopped on a table, pass them to the table next to you. So let's kind of circulate those. I wanted you to kind of have an attitude. I want you, don't have attitudes on this trip. No attitude. I wanted you to have an idea about the photo book. This is something that I think the students, I mean, you'll take a lot of pride in that report, that 60-page report, because that'll document everything you did. But the students love this. So you'll have a pictorial history of what you've done. So this is one that was done 2 years ago, and then here's one that was done last year, just to give you an idea of what you'll have to do. If you haven't ever done a photo book before, you may be kind of intimidated by this. It's, you know, honestly, it's probably a little easier than it looks, I think. I've done 2 of these, and I mean, it doesn't really take that much time to do these. I mean, after you've got all your pictures that you own, and you just drag and drop them into whatever program you wind up deciding. Shutterfly is a real good one. I use Shutterfly on one that I did for our granddaughter here a couple of weeks ago. A&I Publishing, that's what this is. That's another good one. So you've got some different options here, because under number 6, where it explains all about the photo book, so that has to be at least 40 pages. I've put in bold here, high resolution photos only. I'll remind you about this. But last time we had, and I felt sorry for the students, because we had a few that tried to use low resolution photos in their photo book. Well, by the time you get a 8.5 by 11 or a 10 by 13 size picture, if it's not a high resolution photo, it's going to be pixelated. And so it's not going to look nice. And a couple of them even put that picture on the cover of their book, and it just looks awful. So you need to make sure you've got high resolution photos. Be real careful of that. He gives you a warning, actually, but so people just overlook that warning and go ahead and get it published as it is. But you don't want to do that. So that's one of the biggest mistakes we had last time, was people getting a couple of high resolution photos in there that just didn't look good. All right, and so here you can see some things about the photo book, some possible photo book companies. We've listed a few of them here. And you can just kind of look to see. See, last time, just some of these names that look familiar. Snapfish, I had some that did Snapfish. They were good. Blurb, this A&I, you can see an example of that right here. Walgreens.com, I did one with Walgreens.com one time. Shutterfly, I've seen a few with that. So there's several different options you can use for this photo book. So just as long as it looks good, yeah. So keep passing these around. I'll bring them to all of our meetings. In fact, when the other students come, some of them may bring back their photo books too for you to take a look at. Maybe their reports too. I'll ask them to bring back some of their reports. You can see what they look like. And then your course grade. So you can see the 100% broken out there of that 60-page report for 20%, this 40-page minimum photo book, and some of you may wind up with an 80-page photo book. It really doesn't matter. This is up to you, but I'm saying at least 40 pages. That's worth 20%. And then your group project, that's worth 20% too, because this is important. We want you putting a lot of time into this, and preparing it, and writing it up so that it's perfect. And then once you present it to us, I mean, we want it to be great. We want you to engage us, and you've rehearsed it, and it's really polished. So that's worth 20% as well. And then the 40% professional conduct. So in your pre-departure meeting attendance, that's a part of it, as well as all during the trip, how well you represent Texas A&M University 24/7. And then, as I said, a peer evaluation will be heavily used in determining this grade. All right, so that's the 402 syllabus. So when it comes time to registering for classes, you can either register for Marketing 402 or for IBUS, which is International Business 402. It doesn't matter. Dr. Chuck and I split up grading them. But he'll grade half of them just kind of randomly. I'll grade half of them randomly. We grade the reports and the photo books together because we both like to grade your report at the same, then have your photo book open. So as we're reading your report, because in your reports we don't want any pictures. It used to be that in the reports we wanted lots of pictures, but we decided to split that up. And so in the report we don't want any pictures in that. We want all the pictures in the photo book. So he'll grade half of them with the report and the photo book and do both, and then I'll grade half of them. He sends them back to me, and then I go through and look at all of them anyway, because I like to read. But as far as detailed reading of every word in your report, he'll do half and I'll do half of those. So you really don't know who's going to be grading yours. It really doesn't matter. I mean, we kind of have the same standards of what we're looking for. But I will say we spend a lot of, but the rest of our summer goes to grading because we really enjoy reading them, and I take notes as I read through your journals and stuff, places to go, things not to do, and stuff like this, and then I wind up sharing whenever we go over the next time. So I'll be sharing with you some of what they wrote in their journals and things from last year. And then the 403 course. So it sounds like that maybe you might need to take 6 hours anyway to get the financial aid. She's going to check on that to make sure, she said. At least what she was saying, she thought you needed to be enrolled in 6 hours during the summer to get a loan or to get financial aid through A&M. So if you want to take the other course, it's 403. It's a little less work, honestly. It's a 20-page report here. And what we want you to do for the 403 report is to come up with a business that you would like to start in one of the countries that we visit. So let's say in Switzerland, and we go well, let's say in Austria, we go to Innsbruck, which is the extreme sports capital of the world. So let's say that you decide there's one thing missing over there. So I think this is what I want to do. Well, go ahead and come up with a business plan for it, a marketing plan, and do a country analysis. And we've got all the parts of that report here for you. So whatever you like to do. And so I want you, if you're doing the 403 report, don't wait till you get back here to decide on a copy. All right, you need to be thinking of that while we're over there, and then start gathering some information. That if you think that, like last time, we had one student that came up with an idea of hand sanitizers in the London subway, so what they call the tube, the underground, which I thought was a great idea. So she came up with this whole plan of putting hand sanitizers where you could, hit the thing and then get hand, because it's just so dirty and you're touching all stuff on the subway and things like this. So she came up with her marketing plan for doing something like that. And of the government approval she was going to have to get, the fees she's going to have to pay, how much is it going to cost for all this, how many subway stops are there in London, and she did all the research that she needed, and she was doing that while we were over there. Okay, so observing things, kind of getting some ideas. So that's what we want you to do, is to, while we're over there, kind of be thinking and get in mind exactly what you want to do that 403 paper on. And again, it can either be a marketing 403 or an IBUS 403. Okay? So we've got everything spelled out for you right here. Yes?
As far as the IBUS or the marketing, what is the difference there?
So the question was, what's the difference in marketing or IBUS 402 or 403? The only difference is what you want showing up on your transcript. So whether you want it showing up as an MTKG course or an international business course. For your, if you're a marketing major, it's probably about a fourth of you are going to, or marketing majors. Some of you maybe want it showing up as a marketing course. It really doesn't matter. We grade, I don't even know what it is until I'm filling out the final grades, actually. And then, okay, well, why isn't their name, where are the Petersons' names? Why aren't they? Oh, they signed up for it as the IBUS, okay, and then I'll find it on there. So it doesn't matter, just however you want it showing up in your transcript. Okay, good question. All right, other questions about 402 or 403? I think these photo books, are they still going around? So keep passing those around. They look like they're kind of intimidating. In fact, if I look around, you know, a lot of the girls, as you're looking through them, you're saying, wow, this is so cool. The guys are saying, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? But trust me, guys, you'll only be doing this, and you'll be so proud of these books after you get through. As long as you don't have a low-resolution photo on the front, and all you see is pictures, and then you're not going to be proud. You know, or your main picture in there. So, yeah, this high resolution, I want to really emphasize that. But you will love doing these photo books. It's fun doing those, and you'll be so proud of what you have. The reunion barbecue that we had this last year on the first football game weekend on that Saturday, because it's then when I give back all the reports, give back all the photo books, is at that barbecue. And so just watching the students' expressions as they're getting there, usually that happens to me. I'm glad it happened to somebody else. But just watching everybody's expression as they're getting there and looking at everybody's photo book, because most of them haven't seen everybody else's photo books. And just looking at everybody's photo books and the parents looking at everybody's, and they haven't seen theirs since they turned it in. Some of them have ordered it from the company and had it sent directly to me, so they haven't even seen what it looked like yet. So it's just a lot of fun. So I think it's some work, but you're going to enjoy doing both the report and the photo book, and you'll really be glad that you did. Okay, so questions about the courses, questions about signing up for anything? Okay, yes ma'am. Come on.
For the group presentations, are we going to have like PowerPoint?
No, you're not. Great question, Hillary. You don't have any electronic stuff over there in the hotels. So any visuals you have, you're just going to have to come up with yourself and take over with us. We'll want you to have one handout per team that you pass out to everybody, like we're saying there. So everybody's got a handout you're passing out to everyone. But everybody in your team should have some kind of object that you're showing. Okay, any other great questions before we leave here tonight? So, I tell you, I don't want to eat the rest of those cookies. So you're going to have to eat them or take them with you, put them in your pockets or something. So, all right. So if you have any questions, you want to hang around, ask Kristen or me afterwards, please do. Otherwise, I'll see you in February. Let's give my wife another round of applause.